Is there a kind of a common theme to the issues you guys have encountered on third down?
Is there a common theme? No. I thought we did a nice job in the first half. He handled that was a team that typically pressures a ton, and we handled their heavy pressures really well. The backs did a great job in the protection part of that. Not easy looks that we had to handle when they actually did bring it. It was actually probably the more simple things that they do that we had the two issues. One, we got the ball out. The other time we took a sack. So those two plays, we gotta make sure that we're ready to handle because they were pretty simple pressures, and obviously we've been working on that this week. So we'll clean those two up. But as far as the common theme, no, I think the execution was decent. We had a couple of chances to make a couple plays. We didn't make them, and then those two pressure. Those ones stick out as far as what we need to improve upon, but not a common theme by any means.
You guys are at 34% on third down. What's your benchmark when you look at it and you say, you know what, we really want to be here?
Well, 48%. I think I said this in here before. 48% is what typically is. It was like 11 of 12 years in a row. 48% was number one in the league. So that's our benchmark. We're trying to be the best in the league at it.
Luke, as far as the passing game goes, what were one or two specific moments from Sunday that stood out to you as encouraging or impressive in your mind?
I thought there was a lot of good moments. I thought I thought we did a really nice job on all those play passes, getting them outside the pocket, getting those guys the ball in some space. We missed one throw there to Treston. The deep ball to Mooney was awesome. To get that going. Then was the second play of the game. We hit another one deep over the middle. So the play pass was really good. We got to win a couple more battles on third down. That's usually how that works, right? Usually third down is when you get those isolation one-on-one ops more. You have to protect a little bit more. So we got to win. We got to win a few more of those. But in the passing game, I thought it was definitely a lot of things that were really good for them.
What did you see as the issue in the red zone?
Well, this week it was, we've been pretty good so far until this game. This week we stalled on first down both times, so then I put second and long, and then we only got 3 or 4 yards. One time we only got 2. We got to take the completions when they're there. I think he passed up a couple, cheap completions that get you into that 2nd and 3s, 2nd and 4s, which make the gold zone much more. A lot more easy to go score, So we got to improve upon that. We got to go get those little cheap completions. And we just got to execute in the run game better, too. We had a couple opportunities there. One, I didn't give our guys the best opportunity, but there was 2 other ones that we really had it. We had it exactly the way we wanted it. We just didn't execute it to our capabilities that we have been in the past.
The little cheap completions you're talking about, why is he not throwing those?
Yeah, that's a part of it, right? You had The 2 of the instances that I can think of, he had somebody, sort of in his vision, and so he had to make a split decision. And both times, one time he decided to stick his foot in the ground and try to beat the defensive end inside. I think he took a sack, right, a 2-yard sack. And Cole's in the flat as your primary receiver. You just got to manipulate the defender and make that throw. Again, that is an experienced rep. That's not like an easy thing that you just go out there and you know how to do that. And so he's experienced it, and he's gotten so much better at those as we've gone along. So that's one that I know that he wishes he had back.
Do you get a sense that the offense is about to break out, so to speak, or do you think it's just slow and steady?
Yeah, I don't. As far as like that word breakout, I don't really think in that terms. I thought this week we took a little bit of a step back in the way that we fired off the rock and the way that we played. They were a challenge. They had a big front, and it was the way that we got off the rock in the backfield, the way that we were at tight end in the O-line. It was all phases. It wasn't just one phase. It really wasn't. I think that's what makes us unique, and we got to make sure that we get back to playing that play style. Which will let all those other kind of opportunities, and whether you want to say breakout or just we're moving in a positive direction. We got to get back to that type of play style.
Were things schemed differently for Darnell this past game as to why he was able to finally get going with Justin?
No. Every game we go in and we have things that we plan on finding ways to get him the football. These opportunities just presented themselves, and we took advantage of them, and I don't think we maybe necessarily did that, nor did we have the opportunity. It wasn't as clean maybe in the first couple games. So, The times that we've had him screaming open, like we did at the second play, we weren't able to get the ball to him a couple times so far previous. And so the line, it was an unbelievable protection, unbelievable job on that play. Justin had all day to be able to throw that one.
How tough is it to make an adjustment in game, like when Cody gets hurt, you have to put Lucas Patrick in at left guard? How much more will he benefit practicing that spot a whole week?
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky you have a guy that has that kind of experience. I mean, he's been thrown in those situations before, but it's still not an easy task. I mean, I think he's taken 0 snaps as left guard since he's been here, and to him to go out there and be able to finish that game the way he did. I mean, we're lucky. We're lucky we have Lucas.
Remain at left guard, or will he move to center? Are you looking at that?
Yeah, we're in the middle of figuring all that out. Yesterday he did a little bit of everything, so we're gonna try to put what we feel in the end by the end of the week. We'll evaluate it again today and then make that decision.
You guys are 2-2, but Justin personally has had a rough month. Do you worry about what this does to his confidence, to the way he carries himself, anything like that?
Well, I don't think he's had a rough month. I think he's gotten better each week. I think he's growing tremendously, and it's not easy. We're playing good football teams, and it's not easy to become the level of quarterback that he wants to become, and I know that he can become, and so the important thing is that we stay focused, we keep our eyes on that progress or on that process, and we make sure we get better each and every week, and I believe that we're in that phase.
When you talk about experience,
Can you tell by the questions we ask that there's a disparity between how we see Fields and how you do?
I really don't. I know what I know, and I believe what I believe, and what we do in this building is what we pay attention to. And the questions that you ask, that's your right to ask whatever you want. And as long as we stay focused on what we know and what we believe on, we know that in the end we're going to get where we want to get to. So.
He's got a 50% completion percentage, right? 2 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns in his career.
He should have less than 50% because he should have thrown about 6 or 8 of them away instead of taking some sacks. So he actually should have less than that, yeah.
Okay, but I guess my point is, what would you consider struggling then? Because to us, it looks like he's still, like Pat said, he looks like he has had a rough month.
No, the areas of improvement are, right, when, he needs to hit Tristan on that flat route. We need to hit Cole a couple weeks back when he has him open in the seam. When the protection breaks down, right, which he's had to face a lot of that. This game, he handled it better than any other game. And so we just got to keep improving upon that. And so he's doing that. And it takes a lot, man. I mean, the toughness that kid has to be able to handle and deal with what he's dealing with. I mean, it's impressive that a young man with that can be that strong and that tough. I mean, to take hits that he takes week in and week out and to stand back up there, that speaks volumes of that young man.
when you talk about experience, like specifically with the play that I know Matt Eberflus went over it, Justin did too, the 4 verticals play. He said that there's the rule for him when he sees that cover 2 is either check down to the running back or tuck and run. But obviously, however Mooney ran, if it was a play that he was thinking differently from last year, he was open. Is the experience factor that in that split seconds, a more experienced quarterback sees him streaking towards the end zone and breaks the rule that he's supposed to follow and hits that guy open? Is that something that you can get Justin to be proficient at?
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's harder than that. I think when your eyes are in a certain place and somebody doesn't get to that area, it makes you when we talk about your time clock starts, right? So if you're taking a 5 and a hitch, and your primary receiver isn't in that area you're supposed to be, even though he's like open, where he was running kind of left hash, he should have been right hash, and he would have been open. I believe he would have thrown the ball to him because what looked like a 2 high shell to him really was turning into a 1 high, and then Mooney would have been on that right hash, and he should have been on the right hash, and he would have thrown it. However, he listened to his feet, and we talked about all week when they play soft zone in the red zone, they are super soft. Those linebackers are super deep, and if you can take your first hitch and you don't have your primary and you hit it, you're going to have a huge gain. If he would have stayed on the right hash, or if Justin wouldn't have cut the ball back, I don't know why he did, he might have been down inside the 5-yard line too. So, that was something that we did talk about all week, where you had that opportunity, and that was a specific area of the field. So for him to be able to, in the heat of the battle, he checked the play to that play, so he saw the defense, and he had the reaction that we prepared for. Just got to finish the run a little bit better.
So Luke, in the context of the process, is it just a matter of time, in your viewpoint, is it just a matter of time before Fields makes it, or, he just needs experience, just needs to learn, or are you still evaluating? Are you still evaluating, will he be the guy you think he is?
We have a lot more than just evaluating Justin Fields going on right now. And I think that's easy for, that's what everybody wants to evaluate the quarterback all the time, right? And I get it. It's all good. So this is a process for all 11. And so there's so many factors going into what's going on around Justin to just sit here and say, oh, we're only focused on, is this guy going to be the guy or not? That's literally not even on my mind, or I don't think it's on anybody's mind in this building. We're just in this process of getting better, right? How can we get each guy in this building to get better each and every week? And as long as we continue to get better, then we're going in the right direction, and we believe that.
You've had success with the first drive of the game. And, how do you balance the disparity between what you're able to do quick and then the fact that, do they adjust to you? In your analysis, what have you used?
Yeah, that's this league, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many games that I've watched this year that it's like 7-3 after the first two drives, and then no one scores until the fourth quarter. I mean, it's like these guys are really, really good, right? And they make it really hard. And a lot of defenses that you play now, and this is one of them, they create that shell defense, right? You're going to see these DBs like 20 yards deep and not letting you get behind them. That's the style of defense. There's a lot of bend, don't break defenses going on, and then like you guys pointed out, we got to be more effective in the red zone so that instead of 4 field goals, we're coming out with 3 touchdowns and 1 field goal, and then now we're all talking in a positive light about what's going on. So that's where we got to get better situationally.
In terms of the chess match, though, are you comfortable in what you've been able to do?
Yeah, I think the communication has been awesome on the sideline. Minus, like I said, that one protection issue that we had on third down. We got to nip that in the bud faster than that happened. Other than that, I think our communication's been great. The players have been great in their communication. The coaches, the suggestions, the way we're talking about the plan that we have going into each drive has been really good.
Is it morning or is it afternoon? Good afternoon. Okay.
Coach, most of the offenses you faced this year, the most dynamic offensive player has been a ball carrier, even going back to Debo. Justin Jefferson presents a different challenge. Does that create a different way of preparation or a different plan of attack for how you deal with what he can bring?
If it was just one guy, not really, but we still have to worry about 2. And not to diminish the other guys on the team, but those 2 are dynamic players. I think the running back is dynamic, and Jefferson is dynamic. So you have both, and so that's really what creates the problem. They can beat you in 2 ways. They can beat you on the ground. They can beat you up in the air. So you have to pick and choose how you call it, what you do, and where you put guys and what you focus on. And this week the focus is on both, not just one. So I see you shake your head there, and I'm shaking my head too. So we're going to have our plate full.
Is that difficult to say, hey, guys, we got to worry about this element of the passing game when the run defense has been so consistently problematic?
You noticed that, huh? Yeah. No, again, it's a full plate. But the number one thing I would say any defense is you can't let people run the ball down your throat. You can't. That's one of the things you have to stop. Just this week we have to stop both. So we have to find ways to make sure we slow down and stop the run game and make sure that that 18 doesn't get up over the defense or up across the field. And so you have to find ways to take care of both. And what good defenses they do that. And so that's the unique challenge this week of a 2-headed monster stopping both guys.
Have there been unique issues in your run defensive breakdowns, if you will, or has it been kind of a new issue week to week?
Well, the main issue is really just execution, and it's one thing here, one thing here. It could be a tackle, it could be poor eyes, could be slow fit. So there are a variety of things, and when you start with and I'd say a new defense, new guys, you chip away and you try to work on consistency and execution and not doing too much. That's I would say with our guys, it's the problematic thing is everyone wants to make every play. Everyone wants to to help out, and sometimes that can lead to, hey, I'm not in my gap because I'm going to help a guy over here. And so, and that may lead to, if I'm helping a guy over here, I may be out of my gap, and so that can lead to some big plays or plays that should be a tackle for a loss, and you have, or should be a 1 yard gain, it turns out to be a 5 yard gain. And so what we need to do is make sure that consistently guys doing their job, consistently executing, consistently putting your eyes where they need to be. And when you make decisions to do those things, you'll see that the defense gets a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better each week.
How do you lose that discipline when it's been instilled in them, all off-season?
Recidivism. And that means, going back to, old habits. And we all do that. We all get into a ball game and think, okay, this week I can, maybe not look at what I'm supposed to look at, relax. And the coaching part of it is we have to find ways to say, hey, discipline, discipline gap. We talk about mental stability. We talk about mental stamina, choosing to be disciplined about what you're doing, and it takes time.
I was going to say, how fixable is that in the short term? Because it sounds like a long-term.
No, well, you know what? It's always a long-term issue. That's the tough thing about having a good defense and a good consistent defense, and for the long haul, good defenses do that over the long haul, and we're working on that week to week, making sure that you don't play one good week and then relax and then think, hey, I've got it, and then relax and not do it the next week. Good defenses, good teams, good coached defenses, they do that consistently, and that's our challenge to do that every week.
You talked about eye discipline and discipline. Would you say that was specifically the issue with some of those bootlegs on Sunday against the Giants? And what needs to be corrected in the future to not let plays like that happen?
Yeah, eye discipline, not wanting to do too much, not peeking and saying, hey, I'm gonna tackle this run here. Trusting that, hey, the ball went in this gap, that my teammate, that's his play, I'll make that. Along with, we would say, taking care of your gap to the football, making sure your house, your front door, that I'm taking care of my front door, and then, hey, I'll go help my neighbor when I know that no one's coming through my door. So those are all things that that we're working on.
What do you tell your young DBs as they get ready to take on a receiver like Justin Jefferson? Are you coaching them about his tendencies and what to watch for, or are you trying not to coach them too much so that they're not overthinking it as they get ready for this?
The number one thing would be, in a nutshell, would be make sure your technique can stand the test of time. So that would say that, hey, whatever your technique is, whether it's a dynamic guy, whether it's a fast guy, not so fast guy, tall guy, small guy, whatever that is, you want to make sure your technique, whatever it is, can stand the test of time, so that you're not so focused on, hey, what they do. We do look at that. We do look at where their catches come from, where they're lined up, how they run their routes, when they're getting their targets. But still, for a young guy, the number one thing is, hey, your technique will get you to where you're supposed to be. Your eyes will take you to where you need to be. You don't need to do anything different than what you're doing. And, your technique, that's the number one thing.
You talk about the weapons that they have at receiver and at running back. What about Cousins? How does Cousins kind of orchestrate all of that?
He does a great job of getting them in the right play. He does a great job of, you'll see, super accurate on the outside. He does a great job of moving in the pocket, getting rid of the football when needed. So those are all things he's taken some hits about accuracy and being streaky, but I think he's done a good job this year of getting the ball to different people when needed on time. He's done a great job.
You haven't faced a lot of veteran quarterbacks this year, short of Rodgers. When somebody's got that many miles on them, what do you have to be aware of that they can do that experiences kind of help teach them over the years?
Yeah. our thing is, and I'll keep hammering this, being disciplined about where our eyes are, being disciplined about what you're supposed to do. I would say that some people say, hey, you're going to get trick plays, you're going to get boots, you're going to get some play action. Trick plays or play action plays are for guys that don't read their keys. So if you're reading your keys and you trust in your keys and what the coaches are telling you, they'll take you to where the ball is. And then the one-offers, those are things that we say make them play left-handed, make them make a left-handed shot, and take away what they do best, and then make them beat you left-handed. And so if we do that, I think you'll see good results.
The game that your staff schemed up against him in 2020, like when he had the 3 interceptions, I mean, it looked like he had never seen a cover 2 look in his life that game. Why do you think that you guys were so successful against him? I mean, it was his lowest passer rating, I think, ever. It was just not a great day for him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case that he hadn't seen the cover 2. You know what? The same thing. It was coverage and rushing coverage. That game, that guys were in the right place. They were where they're supposed to be. And when you have a quarterback that's under duress, we hit them. We hit them often. We put them down on the ground. And so when you do that, some quarterbacks, I don't know any quarterbacks that like to be hit. So when you hit them, sometimes they'll do some things out of character. And so he got rid of the ball way before he wanted to, needed to, and guys were in the right spot to catch the ball. We dropped a few that ball game, and we caught a few. So, Coach Flus would always say that, turning the football over will turn a C+ grade into an A, and that's what we did that ball game. We hit them, we turned it over, and we stopped the run.
Even though the personnel is different now from where you had with that group, are there things that you can pull from that game that you try to put into your game prep now, or is it different?
Yeah, different. Some of the same personnel, but yeah, really different. Different scheme, different run game. So I wouldn't put too much stock into that one. I'm sure they looked at it and that type of thing, but they're different.
What impressed you about Eddie Jackson?
Sorry.
How you gotten the most out of him this season? Seems to have rejuvenated himself.
Yeah, I give guys credit. I would give credit to Eddie in the way he's worked, the way he's brought in. Some guys you come in and you say, hey, do this, this, and this, and they'll go, hey, I'm a Pro Bowl player. No, I'm going to always do what I always did. And he came in, when we came in, he said, hey, Coach, tell me what I need to do, tell me how I need to do it, coach me, help me to get better, and he's responded. And then I would say Coach Curtis has done a phenomenal job of spending time with him, phenomenal job of saying, hey, this is how we're going to get you better, this is what you need to do. And then I would give credit to Coach Flus that every now and then he'll pull Eddie aside and say, hey, this is what I see, this is what you need to do. And again, circling back to Eddie, he goes, okay, yes, and in practice you see it. And then the result of that is you see a good product on the field. Eddie's always been talented. Now the opportunities are coming, and he's making the best of them. So.
While we're on the topic of safeties, just to throw you in the time machine, what do you remember about Harrison Smith as a young player when you were with him?
Talented. Like there's a certain amount of players that come in, and they're going to be good right away. They're more mature than what their years say. And so he came in, great ball skills, mature, fast processor, which is a good thing, tough. Can't say too many good things about him. Just one of those guys that, that good player, good person, A+ and all the above.
You mentioned how their run game's a little different this year. Is it just that they're not as much of a run-first team, or are they running the ball differently?
No, different scheme, different types of runs. And I would think that they would look at us and go, you know what, where they are in the stats, that they're going to come in and say, hey, they're coming in our house and we're going to run the ball down their throat. and then play action pass and get over their head. That's what the stats say to do. So we'll see if the stats lie or not.
All right, that's one, Herbert. Coach, when you have a player, a defender, particularly in the secondary, that appears to be struggling, are there things as a collective you can do to help that player, or is it just an individual improvement that needs to take place, especially if they are playing in a hot spot?
Yes. Yes, in that there are things that we can do to help players out, and with technique, with scheme. And then you know that if it's, you said young players sometimes they go through their lumps. He just mentioned Harrison Smith went through some lumps early on and then improving week to week. And sometimes you would say that, hey, it appears. Sometimes it appears that guys are struggling more than they are, and it may be, hey, should have had some help here, maybe not. So sometimes what appears to the naked eye may not actually be true, and so we don't panic. Our players don't panic. They're mentally stable, and so young guys, they'll be fine.
Good afternoon. How are you guys doing? Great. Go ahead, guys. Fire away.
Good, really up until the end of the game with Halas is a pretty good game on special teams. I guess how did you look at the whole day with that, obviously, a big play in the game?
Yeah. No, I appreciate the question. Appreciate you saying that. I credit the men in the locker room. They really did have a good game up until that play. Like you said, I thought Trent Gill punted the ball outstanding. I thought Blackwell played phenomenal. I thought the coverage units did a nice job pinning both on punt and on kickoff. The one play we talked about with Halas, I looked at the play before that, and he had an outstanding punt return before that. Josh Blackwell actually caused the penalty that forced those guys to repunt so that we could get that opportunity. And I think Halas took advantage of that. I mean, that was like a 19, 20-yard punt return, so that was outstanding, and we just need him to do it again. But he's excited. You know, he's got that look in his eye this week, so I can't wait to see him play.
Sorry. With Halas, you throw him right back out there, punts and kicks, no hesitation.
I haven't lost any confidence in Halas. I'm glad no one ever gave up on me the first, mistake I made. So and that's how guys get better. Like, you got to give them chances. You got to give them opportunities. And he's a special player. And nobody feels worse about that play than Halas does. So, yeah, he's right back out there, ready to go.
Richard, on the play that Blackwell caused the takeaway, can you just go through the entire sequence and what you saw from him from start to finish in making that play?
Yeah, I mean, he was in a vice. What we call a vice is two guys on one blocking him. He was releasing there, and he did a good job using his speed and using his hands, and he got the guys to overplay and came underneath it, and he hit the ball carrier with really good physicality and dislodged the ball and then was able to recover it, but him just using his speed there and using the techniques that we teach him in practice, and Coach Polk teaches him, and we all try to teach him. He did a good job carrying the drill to the field, and that's what we want to see with all our players, is them taking the drills to the field and just keep progressing. That's what we're looking for.
Did you know much about Josh before you guys claimed him off waivers? I mean, considering he's a rookie and wasn't here in the summer and training camp, like at what point did you realize, hey, this guy can be pretty helpful for us?
Probably as soon as Ian and Curtis, not Curtis, excuse me, Charles Love, as soon as they, give us the tape and said, hey, watch this guy. We think he's a pretty good player, see if he could fit into the scheme. So the personnel people did a phenomenal job. They get the credit first because we don't have the time to scout players, and we're doing scheme, we're doing stuff like that. So they recognize the talent, and then we just talk together, and then it's pretty evident to see that some tools were there, And then a credit to Josh, he just took the coaching that he's getting along with the stuff that he already knew and his God-given ability, and he's been making some plays. So we just want that to continue. Go ahead.
Can you put into context how difficult what Michael Badgley came in here to do, like just on moments? Did he have any practice time with the punter and long snapper at all? Like, and for him to come in and go 4 for 4, can you just kind of give us like an idea how difficult that is on short notice?
Yeah, it's extremely hard to kick and go 4 for 4. That's a great question, Courtney. It's so difficult because it's difficult to do with your own guys, to go 4 for 4 in that swirling wind. And his first time kicking with the guys was actually on the field. Obviously, when he was in here, Ryan and his staff did a great job of being prepared for that moment, making sure we had someone in here. Obviously, his familiarity with Flus. I also had an opportunity to see Michael work because we did joint practices. So I've worked with him or against him as well. And he came and worked out at the last place I was at a time or two. So just him having a familiarity with everyone, and then us, just sitting down with him, going through all the holes, the leans. Scalesy was outstanding. He adjusted some things along with Trent so that Michael could feel comfortable. And then I'm so happy for him that now he has an opportunity to kick again. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, if he came through here, we still want him to be successful. But it's very hard, and he did an outstanding job. And, I mean, I can't say enough good things about Michael. And he got a chance to kick at home. I mean, how cool is that? In front of his family, to get signed to any team, and it to happen that way, I mean, I'm happy for him.
Coach, what are the coaching points on that particular month? I know they aren't all the same necessarily. And
Sure.
What's the long-term message that you gave to Velus thereafter?
Yeah, so he's got to beat the ball to the spot, and he's got to. If you take a look at that play, he caught the ball outside the framework of his body. So he kind of caught the ball here. You try to get to the spot and get the ball centered if you can, and get your thumbs up, pinkies together, elbows together, and then try to catch it this way, so that you have, if it does shoot, you can get it, and your elbows can serve as a brace for the ball. But he never really got a chance to get under it, and it kind of died on him at the end. So at that point, you're just trying to catch it at all costs if you can. But if he could get there, get underneath it, get square, I think he'd have a better chance at catching that ball. But great question.
How important is confidence to a returner? And can you do anything to help build that back up, or does he only get it by going out and accomplishing good things?
Yeah, I think when we talking about V12, Velus, he is so confident, super confident. So he was already talking about the next opportunity that he was going to get after that happened. Obviously, he didn't feel great about that, but he's a confident person, and we got all the confidence in the world in him, and I can't wait to see him return again.
So going back to the punt for a second.
Yep.
Because he was running for it and wasn't able to get under, was one of the coaching points maybe you should have let it go, or no?
Well, it just depends. You want him. If you let that ball go and it bounces and then it rolls 20 yards, you want to catch them all if you can. Coach's point is to get to all of them if you can. If you can't, then you have to make a poison call to get your blockers away from it so that they don't get hit and it becomes a live ball. So he was in a position where he almost got there. Yeah, that's the beauty of what he does. It's a very hard job.
When you guys punted at the end there to try to get the ball back and pinned him down there, was that just kind of a fortunate roll and a bounce, or was that was Trent trying to do that on purpose?
Yeah, well, we were always trying to pin him inside the 10 when we can. That when he got an outstanding roll and got it down at the 3-yard line. So I thought we played that situation as good as we can play it, and really that's what you do. You play that situation like that, and then hopefully it pays you back on the back end, and it didn't, unfortunately, in that situation. But I thought that was outstanding the way we played that situation.